Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. With my wife and kids, we run an antique shop in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, filled with some of the most unique items we can find. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc.
From home, honey.
Hi guys, and welcome to today's episode. I started my day and I started working here at the shop, and I remembered something that I forgot, and that's at the back of my truck out there is full of stuff that I bought last night. Oddly, from my old art teacher from high school. Went over to his place, reconnected, had a good visit, bought some stuff that they didn't want that came out of their cabin. So I have to load the boxes from the back of the truck into the store. So let's see what last night's haul generated. I have not gone through. I'm hoping that there's gonna be some good stuff in there. Let's go check it out. It's pretty embarrassing when you buy a truckload of stuff. Oh, and look at all this. Snow happened in the last couple days. You buy a truck full of stuff and you forget that you have it. Look, I have things to bring in. So I guess there's no easy way around this. I'm just gonna start hauling boxes in and we'll go through it one by one. Well, this is my pile of stuff. There's an awful lot of records in here. Depending upon what's inside, it's either going to be good, bad, ugly, or everything in between. Hopefully it's not just Christmas sets and stuff like that. I mean, that's the time of year to sell stuff like this, but not a really great seller, some of those. You hope there's going to be some rock and roll or some Beatles or something, so we'll go through that. The Lego, on the other hand, if some of these kits are complete, old 70s and 80s Lego sets are quite collectible. So there might be a few little surprises in here, turntables and stuff. So we'll start digging through. We'll have a look, but I should probably start with the records and getting these sorted so I know what I've got to work with and get them cleared out of here. Okay, so here's the hope that you go through and you find a few good ones, a few that are sellable. Elvis always sells, you know, other random Christmas albums not as popular. So I'm going to go through and try and pick out just as many that I think would be sellable here at the shop. And then the rest, well, out they go. But we got Blue Hawaii and lots of, okay, these are all, I think everybody had the Bing Crosby Christmas album. I'm going to guess it's him wearing the Santa hat on the cover. Yep. Everybody had that one in their rec room or basement, or I feel like this is mostly Christmas. There are a few Christmas albums that are a little bit more collectible than others. There is a Chuck Berry did, I think, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or Run Run Rudolph. That's actually a pretty hard one to find. That was on 78 though, but it looks like the majority of these are Christmas, and so I'm not going to oh, I stand corrected. Yellow Submarine mixed in with a bunch of Christmas albums. I guess I can't discount the contents of a box too quickly. And it's in nice plastic wrap. So maybe I have to have a closer look here and make sure I'm not missing out on anything really good. Geez, I thought that's Ivan Rebroff. At first glance, looked like Bob Ross from Upside Down. Like, oh, there's an afro. It's got Bob Ross didn't do a Christmas album, but no, Ivan Rebroff. Und die Regensburger Dopspatzen. I'm sure that's a real foot stomper. Okay, I'm going to keep looking through and see if I can find any other decent albums in here and take the ones I don't want back out to the car. Okay, I've been having way too much fun at work today. I came across this. It's an ET, right? But look, he's a boxing ET. Well, if he would have had these moves when he was getting kidnapped by the government, he could have fought them off a little bit. Come get into our van, and he would have like... Anyway, this just made me giggle a bit. Look, he has kind of like a surprise look. He's not really wanting to fight, but look, he's like, I will punch you. You come near me, bro. I will. I don't want to, but bam, 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 bam. You want a little bit of the left? Bam, bam, bam. Come up at me from behind. Wham. From the front. Bam, bam, bam. Toys of the 80s, weren't they just the greatest? So, fun little thing. I have no idea what what ET would go for. I'll look him up. He's probably like a $35, $40 kind of toy. Maybe more. Maybe more. Anyway, you can have this much fun too. Anyway, I'm gonna put this away and continue looking. One of my happier finds for the day, though, was going through a toy box and pulling out a bunch of Redline Hot Wheels. Now, some of them are missing their hoods. And if you're unfamiliar with Redlines, it means it has a little red stripe on the wheel. These ones are almost worn off. But they have a little red white wall tire. There we go, like that. That means it's an early, one of the very first types of Hot Wheels. So even though some of these aren't in the greatest condition, they're still good for parts. Sometimes you need a motor, sometimes you can restore them. People do actually fix these things up. So very happy with that little haul. In fact, I'm gonna take them home and make sure that there aren't some of these that are in this box that are perhaps better than the ones I have in my own collection. So I wanna take them home and make sure that my collection has the ones I need too. So a fun little kit for me to take home today too. All in all, pretty pleased. Hey guys, if you know me and my channel by now, you know that I'm on the road a lot, whether I'm going out to somebody's house to go pick in or on the highway on an adventure. I spend a lot of time on the road. And one of my favorite things to do is to actually listen to audiobooks while I'm going. I love learning something, I love hearing a story, but I don't always have the time to sit down and read a book. But to get that experience, I can do it through the power of technology and the power of my phone and my speakers, and I can listen to these great audiobooks. How do I do that? You can do it through audible.com. Now, Audible approached me a little while ago and said, hey, have you used our service before? And actually, yes, there are some great podcasts, music and book series, and audiobooks, including best sellers and new releases that are out right now in the bookstore. Oftentimes, you know, celebrities that do the narration or just really, you know, entertaining reads, I guess you would say. And one of my favorites is listening to Stuart McLean, Vinyl Cafe. He's a Canadian East Coast fellow. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple years ago, but he did this great series about a guy named Dave who owns a record store. And it's a comedy is what it is. He tells stories from when he was a kid and all these sort of unfortunate events that Dave gets himself into. I love listening to it. So whether you're on the road like me or whether you have some time at home while you're working on stuff, Melissa loves to listen as well. When she's sometimes cooking, she'll put her headphones on and she'll just kind of get into the zone of listening. It's a great way to do it. And they've got a holiday offer right now. They've given us a code, which is audible.com/CuriosityInc. What that's going to do is it's going to get you 60% off your first few months. You can try it out, see what you think. There's all sorts of great stuff on there. It works out to basically less than $6 a month, and you have access to the full library, which is really great. Plus, on top of it, you get to download one free audiobook per month, and you get to keep that forever. So it's not like streaming where it's there, and then if you sign out, it's gone. You get to keep it, and you get to have it with you. So really great service. Check it out if you haven't already. I'm sure you've all heard of Audible. I hope you have. If you haven't, now you have. Go to audible.com/CuriosityInc to claim your 60% off coupon and apply it towards your membership. So check it out, guys. While you're there, check out Vinyl Cafe, Stuart McLean. It's a great listen, and I hope you enjoy it. So back in the day, the Chipmunks were really popular. So popular, in fact, that there was people who were copying the Chipmunks, like this. The Chippers sing, and all, you know, they just speed up the track and then slow it down and play it at regular, so it makes their voice sound all squeaky and chipmunk-like. It's a neat thing that Dave, what's Dave's last name? The guy, they're always call him in the Chipmunks. That's the guy's name who actually produced these albums. But this is a rip-off Chipmunk album. Not super valuable because it's not a real Chipmunk album, but it goes to show you get an idea, and somebody out there is going to try and take it from you at some point. Odd combination of you. They're listening to these at the same time. Let's put on the smooth sounds of Nat King Cole, followed by the Chippers singing Frosty the Snowman. Must have been a fun afternoon over at Mom and Dad's place listening to this stuff. Smothers Brothers. Somebody would probably be interested in that. Old comedy albums and that. I'm going to keep looking, see what else is in here. In some of the other boxes, we have a large variety of old 45 RPM records. These are great if you have a jukebox. And sometimes early records from artists, you know, they didn't even produce full albums. You can only get their work if you find it on the 45. But this was in a shed. There was squirrels in the shed, and there's, you know, little bits of debris in there. The records themselves don't look that bad, but my allergies are acting up, so I'm gonna leave that for the next person to sort through. What's the box of 78s? For a few of these are Edison diamond discs. They are pretty much the earliest form of record, or one of the early form of records. It's got Thomas Edison's face right on it. And yeah, they were a higher quality thing. Look how thick they are. You can always tell because they're quite a bit thicker than your average record, which is like, you know, a third of that. You don't see them too often. There's not a lot of people who have diamond disc players. It's pretty antiquated technology, but from a historic perspective, it's kind of neat. And maybe one day we'll get one and we'll play Cecilia the Foxtrot, or I Can't See the Beautiful Sea Unless It's Filled with Beautiful Girls. Well, maybe I won't play that one if I want to stay married, but kind of neat to come across that. Also, this was mixed in. This is 1962 at Days 2. It's a quick draw McGraw holster set, still mounted on the original card, and has parts of the original plastic for it too. It's a neat little set. They're not the world's highest quality cap guns, but they are metal, and they are real cap guns, and it's got a nice little quick draw McGraw Hanna-Barbera sort of vibe going on. And what train set wouldn't be complete without the dad wearing a train? I should just start wearing a train hat and smoking a pipe. I won't even have a train set in the house. I'll just go for that look. People will be like, oh, are you working on your train room? And I'll just puff my pipe like Cosmo Kramer and go, no, I'm not. But little old 50s or 60s era battery, not a high-end set, but kind of cool that it's in its original box. And it looks like it's never ever been removed. Still has all the tie downs there. So tin plate and plastic battery operated set. Oh, that can make its way off to auction as well. And just like that, my big pile of stuff that was here is whittled down to just the few things that I want. The Lego, the turntables, a few of the records, but really the rest of it's just all gonna go. I am keeping the Quick Draw McGraw holster set for the store. That's a cool piece. It should sell around Christmas. And as for the Lego, well, I'm gonna go through and see if I can assemble it and try and get that castle all back in one piece. If so, that should be a good sellable item kind of on its own. There was also two turntables. The Hitachi right there and the Pioneer, both of which are very dusty, so I'm going to give those a bit of a cleaning and then we'll have a look and see what they look like. But I think they're both were decent. That's a fully automatic turntable, probably not a bad one. If it's has a decent cartridge, or in this case no cartridge, well, you can buy them. It's you know, a half decent turntable. Well, let's get it cleaned up. Well, the Pioneer PL1120 is a belt drive, and basically the difference between turntables are some have a belt that rotate your platter and others have basically a direct wheel that goes onto the platter and turn it. There's a great debate over what's better. Some people say you get better performance off of a direct drive. You can also, if not the people do it, but you can scratch zook, 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 with the direct drive and not with the belt drive really. But then there's other people who say, well, the belt drive is better because then you have less vibration on the platter. So don't really, I guess it's 6 of one, half dozen the other, but generally the heavier the platter and the heavier mat will give you, I guess, a nicer sound. This does have the cartridge, but again, I think somebody might have to replace that. You can buy these as replacements online. It's not a big deal. But there's always somebody looking for a turntable, and they're very expensive to buy new because they're kind of a niche market. So when you find an old one that's half decent, they do generally sell. So now here I am sitting here trying to assemble a Lego set, and the castle's coming along. I'm missing some flags, but I think they might be in this bag here. I'm gonna see how complete it is, because the more complete it is, the more valuable. Everything down to little trees make a big difference when you're coming up with valuations on this stuff. But if I can make this set complete, we'll probably have about a $150 set on a good day. And you know, lots of collectors out there for Lego, especially the early sets like this. I'm gonna keep playing with my Lego, see how far I can get it, and see what she looks like when it's all done. Here's some digging around and some searching with help of the instructions, it looks like the set is pretty darn complete. We've got the knights, we've got the flags, and maybe it's an attention to detail thing, but I had to have the flags all pointed the same way, like the wind is blowing this way, so the flags all have to be blowing the right way. But that set, complete with the instructions, is actually closer to about $250, if you can believe it. Someone on eBay is asking 45 bucks for that one little damsel right there. So pretty good piece, and nice to find it with all its little accessories. I'll put that in the showcase and put it out for sale. In the meantime, I've got all these space sets and other sets in here that I can build. Might bring those home to work on, because that's probably going to take me a little bit longer. Well, it's the next day. Last night I went home and I put together a few more of the Lego sets. I've got them advertised and listed online. Did get my castle set out though, and that's up and running. But this morning I went back out and I did it again. Filled the truck back up. So now this is turning from a one pick day into a 2-day pick and adventure. And on top of it, that giant pile of stuff I had here, all the records and that, basically I only kept a handful of records. The rest all went off to auction or to charity. Out of everything that I had from that first adventure, really only kept the turntables and the cap gun set. Just kept the stuff that I thought I could really sell. But now I've got to offload the vehicle again, and I'll show you what came around today. I thought some good finds again. I guess we'll see. I don't know. This has been part of it, is sorting through all this costume jewelry, untangling. It was all tangled up. I've been sitting here for hours going through and getting all these necklaces and beads and bracelets all undone so we can put them out for sale. They're not going to be terribly expensive pieces, but you know, if that was actual diamond, could you imagine? That's a lot of bling, even for a costume piece. That's pretty sparkly. But we'll get this all out, get it all up for sale. I didn't pay a whole lot for it, so it can go out for inexpensive prices. And I'll offload the back of the vehicle and show you what I got. One thing that was kind of neat was this little diorama. Somebody set it up with, you know, Goofy and Mickey as though they were playing pool, but it is an actual vintage, I think a children's style table. It does have this interesting plaque on the side though. Manufactured by Burroughs and Watts expressly for size ball hall. So it could have been actually more of a salesman sample sort of piece. Either way, it's cool. And they did up a little miniature of their pool hall. I noticed that they had pets though, and that's kind of gross that there's cat hair or dog hair all over it. So I'm just simply taking some tape, making sure that it's on there really good, and off goes the hair. So I'm going to do that to the whole surface until all this is gone. Clean it up a little bit, because nobody wants that grossness coming home with them. Well, that's a bit better, and that is a giant piece, but it does look pretty cool with the back painted glass and little billiard sign and that. Nice little decoration for somebody who likes to play pool. Sit on a shelf just like it's doing right now. I'll leave that off to the side. You can see how big that is. Look how big this thing is. Leave that off to the side for now and check out what's in the other boxes. Aside from our good friend Goofy Mickey playing pool, I ended up with the train lantern. I don't see the marking from the line it was from. Oh no, it's CNR, Canadian National Railway. Someone at some point has swapped out the original lenses with these reflectors. And originally this would have been mounted. This is a signal switch, so it would have sat on a pole off on the tracks. And you would have had a wick. So every day somebody would have to light that wick and, you know, keep it going with oil. Later, maybe they just adapted it to have reflectors on it and was put out of service. So it's not 100% original. I do actually have one. Here, I'll show you what an original one looks like. See the difference? Light is meant to pass through. So that's what it's supposed to look like. And in nice condition like that, they're worth a few $100s. This is worth somewhere, you know, between probably 150 and 200, somewhere around there as it sits. It's still a neat piece and nice decoration. A couple of old World War II helmets. One has the lining and it's not in terrible condition. The other one definitely has seen a little bit more use and has some rust on it. Those can range usually around 150 or so, somewhere around there. If this was a really nice one with the netting, like I've got one on the other side that's really intact with the netting and the band-aids and everything in it, that could be about 350. This is an old miner's lamp. Put this in the coal mine, hang it up from the inside there, inside the shaft, and let it go, and that would direct light at your work site. So that's probably not, you know, hugely old. I would say probably from the 30s or 40s kind of era, but nice to find mining stuff. And Edmonton, the area that I'm in, had a bunch of coal mines, so we do come across mining memorabilia every so often. Was kind of nice to find. I don't buy a lot of Barbie stuff unless it's old, and this Barbie Going Camping set is pretty neat. It's got the cool Volkswagen inspired dune buggy. It's got a little tent that goes with it. I don't think the doll would be included. I'll have to open up the box and see if there's a doll in there. I don't think so, but that was a cool find. I'll open that up in a second. This is one of the original Barbie cars, and it's not a replica. It's actually kind of a hard thing to find. Now, it's got a broken windscreen on it, sadly, but the steering wheel is there. Overall, the condition's not bad. That's an Austin Healey 3000. Barbie had class, let me tell you. And really neat to find in someone's basement. You don't find too much of the old 50s and 60s Barbie stuff like that, especially the Barbie car, which would have been a pretty extravagant piece for a kid at the time. It's a neat set to find, but let's open this up and see what's inside. Okay, we've got the trailer, we've got the buggy, we've got the little vinyl accessories for it, but of course no Barbie. That's fine. She was never included with this set anyway, but neat piece either way. As a kid, I must have read hundreds and hundreds of Archie comics thinking they were the best. Maybe that's where some of my humor comes from too, but some are collectible. The early issues from the 1950s can be very collectible, and you know, there are still lots of people who just like to read it. Now, these aren't going to be high dollar issues. We'll put them out, probably kids will want to read them again. That's fine. What's funny, if you look at the artist there, Dan DeCarlo, I had a chance to meet him at a comic book signing once, and he started to draw an Archie for me, the big eyebrows, and I had actually asked him for a Jughead drawing because Jughead was my favorite. And so I have a Jughead with Archie eyebrows. He said nobody really asked him to draw a Jughead. I said, no, I would prefer a Jughead, thank you. So I have at home somewhere a signed book from when I was a kid. It was on the news for that too, where he signed and did that for me. So lots of fun memories. We'll get these out and get them for sale at the shop, but I know that there's probably going to be at least a few in here that will find a new home with some happy readers. But that wasn't the only stack of comics that I got. There was this big file box full. And this is kind of how I like to find them, because you know it was put together by somebody who was reading them, like not a collector. This is definitely not a collector's collection. That said, with it being mostly Richie Rich and stuff, most of these will end up just going out as an item to be sold cheap for kids to read, which is just fine. But you hope you're going to hit a ream of, you know, like old Spider-Man or Superman, or actually more Marvel stuff is generally a little bit better. But there are some early Daffy Duck gold keys and Porky Pig gold keys and stuff in here. So there's some neat stuff mixed in. I'll sift through and see if there's any worth separating out. Otherwise, most of this stuff will end up just going off to be sold kind of by the comic for not too much, just for kids. I'm distracted looking through comics. That's what's happening here. Okay, I'm going to put that away. I can come back to that in a little bit. And we've got an old Cowboy Lunch Kit, which has seen better days. At least this side's not too bad. Wagon Train. Fun graphics on those. And Star Trek Next Generation, 1988. Big question is, it has its thermos. So that's a nice complete set. It's a little dusty, but it's complete. And look, the Barbie Country Camper. And they say it's really not been out of the box. So it's been sitting here. Nobody's had the joy of playing with it. But for a collector, that's actually a good thing. A collector will prefer to have it in really nice condition to put on in their display in their collection. It's a shame it didn't get played with by any kids, but there's Barbie hanging out. There's Ken looking all dapper in his stripey, almost looks like a Beach Boys kind of outfit with the khaki pants and the striped shirt. This dates to 1972. I remember my aunt had that vinyl Barbie country camper van in the basement. It was certainly a cool piece, and it's kind of neat to get it back in stock now. And as you can see, this is the Canadian version, which is in French and English. Make it even just that much more rare because there was less of them made. So some good little collectibles came out of the lot today. As I was sorting through all the jewelry that I had on the counter, and I've got it all out now, it's nice and full again, I did come across this little necklace. It's nice little flowers, sort of like daisies, all wound together in a ball. Kind of a neat piece. It's just costume jewelry, but my wife Melissa really likes flowers, so I'm going to bring that home to her and see if she wants it. she doesn't really like having a whole bunch of excess jewelry around, but that speaks to me. That says Melissa to me. So I will take her some stuff home today too. But guys, it was a fun day. Got some stuff for myself, got a bunch of stuff for the store. Now I've got to get things priced and put out on the shelves. And we just keep doing this over and over again, you know, is the life of buy, sell, and trade. But guys, thanks for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you all soon. Bye for now.